All right, everybody, let's take a look at how to do our APA formatting. I know there was some questions about how to do this. Some of you were a little confused. I did put the templates up in our resources folder, so you do have access to that. But let me just go ahead and walk you through this as well. So let's say that you might have a document that you've been working on, and now you need to get it into APA style. So let's say here, I've got my document right here. As you can tell, it is made up all of Taylor Swift lyric quotes here, right? And then I have my sources down here. So these are the sources that we were going to be using for our work, okay? So there's several things that we're going to have to look at and do. One of the things about APA is the cover page, right? And the cover page makes the APA a little bit more formal, okay? This would be like to present at a conference or to submit to publication or something. So let's go ahead and put that in. Now, what we'll do first is insert our page break. So you'll notice up here, I just put the cursor above the text, right? And then I'm going to insert that page break. Now, what that does is that ensures that when I come up here to my text, oops. When I want to go ahead and work on this up here, I will be on this top page. And no matter what happens, outside of this, everything's going to be on this page here. And whatever I put on here, everything will start on the top of the next page, right? So I'm telling Google Docs to start the body, on the next page. So, okay. So let's start off. Let's put in our title here, right? Let's start with our title. And let's see here. Are you ready? Oh, whoops. Title case. Are you ready for it? Swift lyrics. Okay. Now, AP, again, you can have multiple lines on MLA or APA. The second line would then just be like some additional information or clarification, maybe a focus point, right? The second line is really kind of optional to you if you want to do that. I'm going to put 2 returns or 2 enters, depending on what your keyboard says. And then you're going to type in your name, right? So just for clarity, I'm going to use a different name here just so like you don't see my name twice. You get kind of confused, okay, of what we are doing, okay? And then, the thing that to always remember here is that when you are doing this with your when you're doing this for like a class or something, I think it's always important to make sure that you're doing it the way that your teacher says to do it. Okay. I know that sometimes you might be told to do it a little bit differently, right? And that's fine, but we want to make sure that we're doing it the way that that teacher wants, because they're the ones giving you that grade, right? Okay. So next we're going to put in the name of the sponsoring institution. Now, this could be, for this case, it's Ivy Tech Community College. Let's say that you were working at a place and they were paying for this. Whoever might be putting in that, might be giving you compensation to do this, sponsoring you, giving you space or access to do these things, right? So this tells us who is kind of responsible. And then we're going to go in here and we're going to put in the name of the class, okay? Okay, now, when you do this, argumentative writing, okay, when you do this, again, check with the teacher how they want it to be done, okay? They want it named a certain class. Maybe they want like a section number or something, right? Maybe there's something that, some specific way they want to do it, okay? Then we're going to type in the teacher's name. I always suggest that you find out what that teacher's title is. Okay, mine, Mr. is fine. Professor would be okay. You're going to get people that like, oh no, I'm a doctor or I'm a whatever, right? So they want that specific thing listed. Okay, and then we're going to put in the due date. Okay, this is the date that is due. Now, let's say that it's due on the 30th, but you're finishing on the 20th. We're still going to put that due date on here, right? Now, just for clarification, I'm going to put I'm just going to write the word due date. Okay. But you would put like the actual date that it was due. All right. Now here, so you see I have this kind of right here. I'm going to center it because my title page is centered. And then I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to center it vertically on my page. Okay, I'm going to center this vertically on my page. So I zoomed out so you can kind of see it a little bit clearer. Okay, so I have my title. I have my name, or the student name who is doing the work, the sponsoring organization. This is the name of the class. And again, maybe, if it's like you're in a bank, or, in a hospital or something, then it might be like the particular department that you're in. It's just whoever's, kind of specifically sponsoring this. The teacher's name, or maybe your boss's name, depending if you're in a corporate setting, and then the date that this was due. All right. So I've got that. Now, I also need to go up here to my header, and with Google Docs, you can just go up and double click it. I think you can do the same thing in Microsoft Word, or you can go to insert headers and footers and do it that way. And we're going to put in the page number. Now I'm just going to insert page number, and I'm just going to take the first one, right? Because I'm going to have to reformat it anyway. Okay. I'm going to go in there. Make sure you do insert page number. Don't type in the number 1, because that means that it'll be 1 on every page. I'm going to align it to the right. And then I'm going to make sure it's in Times New Roman 12 point. Okay. And I'll click out of it, and there you go. If I go to the next page, oh, look, there it says 2. Okay. Now, we got that part done, right? We've got our cover page kind of done. We have the information in there that we need. But now we need to format the paper as a whole. Okay. And what we need to do then is we need to double check on our font, which will be Times New Roman, and the size, which will be 12. Now, you'll notice that mine says 11 right now, and those plus and minus signs on there, so I can just bump it up, right? I always recommend that you type in the number that you need, okay? Because if there's something that's a different size and you hit +1 or +2 plus whatever, then everything gets that big, right? So if everything's 11, you hit once, it'll go up to 12. But if something was at 14, now it's at 15. So it is always best if you type in that number, right? Enter that, okay? And then I'm going to format my line spacing. Now you notice I have all these different options down here. I'm going to hit custom spacing. Now I know I could hit double here, but I need to go in and check my custom spacing. So Microsoft, sometimes Microsoft Word will do this depending on how you have it set up. Their cloud version might do this. Google Docs can do this as well. It may put spaces after the paragraphs, right? So, on web applications, there's no tab. You can't tab in a paragraph. So they'll put spaces in between the paragraphs, okay, to show that this is a paragraph, this is a paragraph. So we need to get rid of those spaces. So it's always good to go into this custom spacing and check this out. On Microsoft Word, if you go to paragraph and you do the drop down paragraph menu, you'll see it in there. So I'm going to change this to 2, double space, and I'm going to make sure both of these are 0. If they are blank, type in 0, okay? You will need to put in the 0 so that you get that holder, that spacing correct. I'm going to hit apply, and there you go. Now I'm going to double check my title page, my cover page. Look like I went maybe a couple lines too deep. There you go. All right. And there we go. Now I have everything double spaced and in the right font and size. Okay. Now you'll notice that I did the header page number and I changed its font separately than I did the body. You will not in either Word or Google Docs be able to select all and get what's in the header. That won't happen. So what I'm going to do now is I need to format this inside. So I'm going to get, are you ready for it? Which is the title. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put that in here and then I'm going to bold it. Okay. So I'm going to put the title on the first page, on the first body page, right? Like it was on the front. Now I'm going to put it here. You might have some teachers tell you to bold it on the front, on the cover page, you generally don't. Some may tell you on the body page, the first body page, when you put in the title, you'll bump it up a couple notches, like to 14. Again, you could do that as well. For me, I'm going to leave it everything as the normal size, right? I'm going to leave it at the 12 point. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and notice I have spaces in between. If I tab down, you'll notice I've got like a space here in between. So it added spaces in between my paragraphs. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of those, right? And I'm going to make sure that I have this ready to go. Okay, now let's say that you're going to be using some headers, all right? MLA doesn't really use headers, APA does. So you can have like sections, right? So if I wanted to, I can put in a header here, and this can be argument, right? Or whatever you might be working on, right? And then this section down here, counter argument, solution, whatever you want to call it, right? But I am just kind of putting those in here. Now, APA has several different levels of headers, section headers that you can use. There's a lot of different options that you might want to use. For the purposes of this class and purposes of this paper, we can really use just the 12-point Times New Roman bolded to the left. Now, notice you'll see that it's all the way to the left. It's not tabbed in like the paragraph, right? Notice the difference there. Okay, so let's say now we're feeling really good, right? We have the body of the paragraph, the body of the paper done. We have the section headers, so we're doing really good. We got the cover page, we got the body. Now we need to work on our references page, okay? Now, one of the nice things there is, you'll notice I've got this like extra spacing. See how I've got all these extra spaces here? Okay. I need to tell Google Docs or Microsoft Word or whatever that I want this to start on the top of the next page. Okay. So again, I'm going to put in that page break, right? Now you notice it didn't move. Well, that's because, it was already at the top of the next page. So I'm going to type in references, which is what we put on the top of our APA's source page, and I'm going to center it. Okay, so there we go, right? Let's say I go back up here. So right now my references start on page 3. Okay, so I'm going to go in here. Let's say that I did like a lot more editing, and I added in a lot more stuff. I added in another page, but see, it bumps it down to page 4. So I would always suggest that you use those page breaks to go from the cover page to the body and to go from the body to the references, right? Always use that page break, because no matter what you do above it or below it, it will always stay in the right place. All right, I'm almost done here, because notice my references aren't in alphabetical order and I got all these extra spaces, right? So I need to go ahead and I need to fix these. Okay, so Davis is going to go here. Anderson, Davis, Johnson, then Smith. Whoops. And then I got one more. And Swift will go all the way down here. So I got Swift, Smith, Johnson, Davis, and Anderson. Get rid of this extra line. And then I need to put in my hanging indent. So I'm going to select this text. I'm going to go to Format, Align and Indent, and then Indentation Options, and select here, Hanging. This is a new feature, a relatively new feature in Google Docs. Microsoft Word's had it for a while, okay? Make sure these are both zeros, which they should default to. Apply. And I've got a document that is in APA reference style. So I've got my text up here, I got my body, I've got my section headers, I've got my title, and I got my cover page. All right. And with my page numbers at the top that consecutively change on each page. Okay. So again, you do have some templates that you can use. You can always go online and download like free Google Doc APA template. There's plenty of them out there. You have the ones that you have that I put up on Ivy Learn. Also, too, what might be beneficial to you is that once you do this the first time, you can just go in and save it as, and start typing again, right? So you have some options there. Guys, remember, the big thing is that we want to remember about formatting. This really helps your audience buy into what you're saying. Partially because they know where to find stuff. It's in a format. It's in a standardized form, but it also builds a little bit of confidence because your audience knows that you did it the right way. Like you did the extra step, you went the extra mile, you wanted it to be done right. And so that helps your audience see that you are really committed to doing things the right way. That builds just a little bit more confidence. Okay. I honestly believe that as long as you make a honest attempt to do it the right way, everything should be fine. Okay. I really do believe that. But we do want to be careful because, again, doing it the right way, when you don't necessarily get it exactly right, it stands out and your audience is going to know that and wonder why. So again, there are plenty of resources out there for you. If you have any questions, make sure you're reaching out to me, and good luck, everybody.